The 25th Winter Olympics in Milan and Cortina d'Ampezzo officially open on Friday, but some events are getting underway today. The Games will feature 2,871 athletes competing in 8 sports and 16 disciplines, including a new one, ski mountaineering. Organisers are promising a dazzling opening ceremony on Friday. Alexandra Quarini and Delana de Souza report.
The countdown for the 2026 Winter Olympics has gotten underway, and with visitors now arriving, the excitement is palpable in Milan.
Always enjoyed the sport, playing it, watching it, so yeah, anything that I can really go and see, I think it's great. Loads of sport's good fun.
Organisers for the 2026 Winter Games are promising an opening ceremony unlike any other. While the main event will be held at Milan San Siro Stadium, simultaneous ceremonies and athlete parades will take place at 3 additional sites. 2 Olympic cauldrons will also be lit at the same time, a historic first.
Italy's Winter Games take place at one of the most difficult and divided moments in recent years. I'm confident that the message of harmony and peace conveyed by the athletes and by the entire Olympic family, all of us, in the coming days, will resonate powerful in every corner of the world.
With the hardline immigration crackdown underway in the United States, news of ICE officers on the ground in Italy has caused controversy. Olympic officials, however, remain undeterred.
There's always been something that has taken the lead leading up to the Games, whether it has been communities, whether it's been Zika, COVID. What is keeping my faith alive is that when that opening ceremony happens and those athletes start competing, suddenly the world remembers the magic and the spirit that the Games have.
The 2026 Winter Games will also feature ski mountaineering. The IOC has selected 3 events from this discipline, which until now has been relatively unknown.
And for more on these 25th Winter Olympics, I'm joined by Louis Moustakis, head of the Institute for Sport and Sustainable Development at the University of Applied Sciences at Kufstein in Austria. Thank you very much for joining us, Louis. As ever, when these big sporting events come along, it's now customary for the organisers and, in this case, the International Olympic Committee to trumpet a new breakthrough in sustainability. How credible are these claims?
Medium credible, I would say. Of course, you can't dismiss the fact that I think organizers are making some conscious efforts. In Milan, they would claim they're reusing about 85% of facilities that already existed, so they're reducing new construction as a result. At the same time, by the sheer scale and size of these events, it's impossible to truly make them sustainable and reduce their carbon footprint. Just to give us a comparison, in Beijing, one study found that the lead up to the Games and the Games themselves produced 118 million tons of CO2 emissions. That's the equivalent of most medium-sized industrialized nations, for example, Bangladesh. It's a little bit less than Nigeria. So the scale of it is just immense. And one of the reasons it's so hard to reduce that is most emissions from mega sporting events also come from travel. And you pointed out the number of athletes to be expected, 2,871. That's almost double than what was in Lillehammer in 1994. And so for every extra event, every extra participant, that's more travel and that's more emissions. And we see this globally. These events constantly become bigger. There's almost 118 or so medal events where it was under 60 again 30 years ago. These events have just grown in size and scale, and it makes it impossible for them to be truly sustainable.
Now, you mentioned earlier that Milan Cortina is using a lot of existing venues, which is definitely on the good side of the ledger for sustainability. These games, however, are being held over a fairly wide and dispersed area of northern Italy. Is this better or worse from a sustainability point of view?
I would argue, without having crunched the numbers, that it's neither here nor there. It's probably marginal. again, what really drives a lot of the emissions are things like construction leading up to the games, which by their own report sounds like they've minimized, but then after, the travel to get to and from. And if they have to take a train or a bus between places in northern Italy, that's maybe not ideal, but that's nothing compared to the amount of fans, athletes, and staff getting on planes from all over the world to attend those games.
Now, winter sports, more so than any other sports, are direct casualties of global warming, with receding snow forcing the closure of a large number of ski stations across the world. And competitions, including the Olympics, are forced to regularly use artificial snow for events. Is there a particular consciousness among the winter sports community about the dangers of global warming?
I think there is, and I think when you look at the global sports sectors, some of the organizations that tend to advocate the most strongly on climate issues do tend to be sport organizations that do have a very direct connection to nature and natural conditions. But still, I think what's the crucial thing that's missing in this advocacy is we're always talking about tweaks and what we can do a little bit better or differently, but the scale and volume of these events isn't being called into question. And again, that's the main driver. So we don't only see that the amount of medal events or athletes has almost doubled in the last 30 years for the Winter Olympics, but we see there are constantly new events being added to the calendar, be it the European Games, the Youth Olympic Games, and of course football. That's a whole other story, but we see the expansion there as well. So yes, there's more consciousness, but not about the crucial issue of should we be hosting these things and should we be doing so much in the first place.
Now, the president of the International Olympic Committee, Kirsty Coventry, received a petition signed by 21,000 people protesting the presence of fossil fuel companies, fossil fuel producing companies, among the sponsors at the Milan Cortina Olympics. And she said the Olympics should do better without obviously condemning any of the sponsors. Is this also a problem that sports need to address, not simply the Winter Olympics?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it does communicate something very strong to say we are going to be sponsored by fossil fuels at the same time as we're pledging for sustainability. Again, I think it just speaks to the broader capitalist logic of these events. We're doing more events, we're having more fans, we're having more medals being given because there's more money associated with that. And it's the same with the sponsors. So I think what we need to reckon with is, are we willing to accept all of these environmental downsides as well as significant human and economic costs for the sake of an event that is entertainment, no matter who gives us the money for it?
Thank you very much for that, Louis Moustakis from the University of Applied Sciences at Kufstein in Austria.
Thank you very much.